So right now I'm going to show you how to do a resource leveling question. Right here is our setup. Gives activity, duration, resources, and I set up a CPM diagram right here. You can see that A is the first activity. It's not preceded immediately by anything. Uh, B and D are both preceded immediately by A. So that's why the arrow from A goes to B and D. You can also tell that E is preceded by both C and D, so that's why arrows go from both C and D to E. So I'll go ahead right now and show you how to do the forwards pass. So starting on the 0 day, the earliest finish A can have is on the second day. So that means that the early start of B and D is on the second day. So that means that the early finish of B is going to be on the fifth day, and D is going to be on the fourth day. And the early finish or early start of C is going to be on the fifth day, which means that the early finish is going to be on the seventh day. So since E is preceded immediately by both C and D, and C finishes after D, that means that the earliest start that E can have is after C is finished, which is on the seventh day. So the early finish of C becomes the early start of E, and the early finish of E is the 11th day. Going on the backwards pass, without delaying the project, the late finish of E is on the 11th day also, which means that the late start is on the 7th day. So the latest that C and D can finish is on the 7th days, which means the early finish, or early start, or sorry, late start for D is going to be on the 5th day. And the late start for C is also going to be on the 5th day. So the late start for C becomes the late finish for B, the 5th day, which means that the late start for B is going to be on the 2nd day. So the latest that A can finish without delaying the project is going to be on the 2nd day, because the 2nd day is the late start for B up here. So the late finish for A is the 1st day, which means that's 0. So the critical path is going to be A, B, C, and E, because the late or the early start and the late start is the same day on all those. So I'll go ahead and change the color of these real quick to make that a little bit more obvious. And there you go, that's it. So we'll go on to making a bar chart now. So here's the setup. Same critical path, just have the bar chart set up right here. So A will go for the first 2 days of the project, and then B will start after A is done and go till the 5th day. D will also start after A is done, and that'll go to the 7th day. C will start after B is done and also go to the 7th day. And then finally, E goes after C and D are both done and goes till the last day of the project. Now we can put in some float into the bar chart. So none of the critical path activities will have any float. So that means A won't have any float, B won't have any float, C will not have any float, and E will not have any float. However, D does have some float. You can see there's a 3-day difference here in the early start and late start, so that means it has 3 days of float. It has a duration 2 days, so the first 2 days we'll put there, and you have 3 days of float here. And then I'll just put the resources in here, and it'll create a the dozer requirement over time chart. So So as you can tell from the chart below, the dozer requirement over time, you can see that it's not level at all, which is really inconvenient on a job site, bringing in dozers and taking them out every day. So we're going to go ahead and resource level this now. It'll make it a lot nicer. So right there is how you resource level it. You can see that none of these days have any floats. You can't move any of the, or sorry, none of these activities, A, B, C, and E, they don't have any floats, so you can't move the resources around at all. But D does have float. For these first 2 days can be moved down, and that's what we did. We moved them down to the last 2 days. And you can see that it makes it a lot more level. It means that the first 2 days you only have 3 dozers, and then you have to bring one in for the 3rd through the 7th days, and then you can get rid of one for the last 4 days of the project. And that's much easier doing that than bringing in and shipping out dozers like this is set up right now. And that's how you resource level your project.